All right, it's fast track. We are so fired up for week 2, and I assure you, you are in for some gold tonight. So if you do not have your notebook and piece of paper and pen in front of you, you want to grab that because Deanna's going to just drop some genius tonight for you. And if you're driving, don't worry about it. Just obtain as much as you can. You can always go back and grab the sound bites and recordings at another time. But I would love to just open up the call, hearing from you guys a teeny bit. So all you have to do is on the computer, just hit the little microphone, unmute yourself one at a time. And I'd love to just either hear from you guys on a little bit of gratitude, maybe like what did payday mean for you yesterday? What did Isagenix do for you and your family? Or if you have an OSM moment, some of you know what that is. That's your O moment of like you got out of your comfort zone, you did something scary, and what that meant for you and your business or something. Like we just would love to hear a couple, 2 to 3 takeaways to kick off our call tonight. Leaders go first.
I'll go first.
Okay, whoever that is, hop out.
I'll go first.
Let's hear it.
All right. So I'm super fired up about 2 things. So, people oftentimes think just because I'm a 5-star Golden Circle, 5-star Crystal executive, that I don't have to get into state and do my power move before I talk to people. But today I went to the gym and I didn't wear my headphones. You guys should try it. I'm just saying it's life-changing. And I talked to 4 people I never would have talked to if I had my earphones on. And I even told some woman who had her laptop on the step mill and she was jamming on it. I said, oh my God, I look for people like you in my business because you are a hustler. And that is what I am looking for. We connected, we exchanged numbers, but that was the first thing. So pat on my own back, right? It's okay. We can do that, right? We can do that. I also
absolutely love it.
I wanted to give it up to one of my girls, Bridget Thompson. She's probably on the call. She hit 1 star last week. She has been hustling. She's on an inside leg. So for those of you who think you're never going to hit those 10 cycles, she absolutely did it. I told her I busted open her business center, saw she was closed, and I said, let's go. There's no stopping. Put your blinders on. And she did it. So really, really excited. So anyway, that's my shares for tonight.
Thanks, Renee. We're going to come back to recognition. Do anybody else have an OSM moment they want to share? A little bit of gratitude, just something that was awesome in your life or a way Isagenix has blessed you?
Okay, I know we have talkers here. We do have talkers somewhere.
Hi. I'll go if it's okay. Hi.
Hi.
So I've been with Isagenix for just over 2 years, and I haven't been serious about the business because I had my own trying to get over my own insecurities about network marketing. But I've been a product user faithfully that whole time. I signed up 2 people last week. I cycled 19 times.
Wow.
So I'm super excited about that. And I'm fired up. And I wanted to thank you guys for having this group and helping me motivate and just do the do. So thanks.
That's so awesome, you guys. I just love to open up the calls just really with, recognizing how hard it is sometimes to get out of our comfort zone or those challenges, but the growth and the celebration with that and just honoring you guys. And I know that we could recognize every single one of you and probably 500 other people from what happened with the cookies and cream drop. I mean, y'all, we broke the internet. I mean, that's a big deal. But, Renee, you're 1-star, amazing, amazing job. I know on my team, I had Renelli have a high cycle week, and Jody went manager. There's so many people. And Deanna, you had some rank advancements too, right, Boo?
Yeah, and I actually, I wanted to actually recognize just some people who are really just stepping up to the plate. And Liz Craig, I was just noticing how she was the first one to post, which was so great. And we have Sarah DeCenzo and Tammy Gingrich has just been leading some of our calls as our product expert. And it's just been really great to see this team come together. And so I love what we're doing here because people are really motivated. People are really coming together. And it doesn't matter how long, just like Laura just mentioned, you can be in this company for a while. And then all of a sudden, boom, you're you're hitting those cycles and you're kicking into gear. So, and Gaynell is 72, 73. And she was on Facebook Live the other day in her car, so she's hitting social media, and I'm really proud. and excited for all of them.
So cool, you guys. So awesome. So before we dive into tonight's call, just a couple housekeeping items. There are hundreds of you on our Facebook page, and we want to just keep things as organized as possible. And we warned you, you've got some reds on the line. So Rachel has done an amazing job of not only just adding some content and fun flow into our page. I loved where she was asking where everybody was from and the super side kind of takeaway. We're also trying to keep it organized. So what you'll see is there are going to be little flyers, little pictures, like week 1 takeaway, our questions spread, week 1 homework, and then again moving into week 2, you're going to see the similar flyers of week 2 homework or week 2 takeaways. So if you guys can just do your best to try to keep everything there, that not only keeps the page clean for everybody else, but it also helps us track it to make sure people are on task doing them things and we're getting all of your questions answered. So when you're posting your vision boards, they're beautiful, but just try and go into the homework page or wherever that is and ask questions in that one thread so nothing is missed. And then we also, the accountability link, some of you forgot about this and that's okay. It was posted in a comment and we didn't get it up to the pinned post in time, but it is now in the pinned post with the recorded call links. So you guys, this is your responsibility. If it's not filled out, we're assuming it's not getting done. So this is your grace week, but literally the 5 of us just chatted before this call. And by next week, if you're not checked off that you've done your homework before the call, you're gonna find yourself not a part of this page anymore. So we want you guys to be amazing leaders. We want you guys to excel at this. But we're not here to babysit, so we're not gonna text you all and make sure you did it. That it's your responsibility to click that link, click off those boxes, and make sure you are accomplishing the task that we're assigning. So you guys, this energy on tonight's call is going to be amazing. I personally am excited to be able to listen and just take notes. Deanna, you guys, she's an Isogenics millionaire. She is a President's Quest winner. She is an adoptive mom. She has a huge heart, and there literally might not be a single person in the company who is better to train on the why. So I'm going to mute and let you take it away, boo.
Thank you so much, Lauren. I am really excited to be here, guys, tonight. And you know, we're going to start off by talking about your why, and it seems very apropos because I'm going to do a little bit of screen share. Give me a second because sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I want you guys to tell me if you see, what do you see? Do you see a big brain on the screen? Do you see it? Okay. All right. So your why, actually, you're going to be training throughout the weeks on, you know, telling your story on social media, you know, compensation plan, connecting with people. But the reason why we do this first, and the reason why this is such a huge training for Isogenics in general, is that really your why is the central nervous system of your business. Or as I like to say it, it's like the engine, because, you know, with all of those other things, you're not really going to build momentum. You're not really going to have that fuel be behind the vehicle if you don't really tie into that. And it takes a little bit of work sometimes to really understand what your personal why is, and your why can change. And so tonight I'm going to talk to you about, I'm going to go over a little outline. I just defined more or less what your why is. And we're going to go over some key questions that Isogenics has for you on isogenicsbusiness.com to sort of prompt this, that we want you to work on if you don't understand what your why is. And then I'm going to give you some examples of how these questions have worked for me. And then I'm going to do something that actually, this is not something that corporate trains in general, but it's really important to me. I really believe that we all need to be connected with a corporate why. In other words, our vision statement. So I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to give you some perspective, and then we're going to talk about our assignment. So first things first, this is my family. I want to, if it's okay with you, I want to tell you about my story and about my why, because when I came into Isogenics, everybody was saying to me, oh my goodness, you have this amazing why. And I was sort of flustered because I had never heard anybody use the word why as a noun. It's like, your why? I mean, like, what is my why? What does that really mean? But I had no network marketing experience, but I did have a passion. I am a mom of 8 kids. Samantha and Andrew are my birth children. Tyler is my son-in-law. I have 3 kids from Ethiopia that I adopted, and Matea, who's from Guatemala, and then Alec, who I adopted from Ukraine. And I really have to tell you a little bit of my backstory so you'll understand. And I really feel it's important so that you can see how a really strong why, as they said that I had, because that was all I had. I had the engine and the central nervous system going, even though I said that I was building this business clumsy and, you know, a hot mess, but I was getting the momentum going and I was building really fast because I was so passionate. So a little backstory before I came with Isagenix, my family, I had been successful in the entertainment business. And let me just kind of go out of the screen share for a second. I had been successful in the entertainment business, but what had happened was from 2008 to about 2011, business was sort of tanking. In 2011, I found out about this little boy named Alec who was in the Ukraine, and he was he was HIV positive, and he was 5 years old. And he had been in that orphanage his entire life. When he was born, they labeled him invalid. Like they labeled him invalid. I found out about him because this is why I'm such a social media freak. I love blogging. I've been blogging for years. I love writing. And I've been using social media and forums like since Facebook came on, you know, like for crazy. But I found him actually online on a Russian-speaking Ukrainian website that I had to Google Translate to actually find out what his deal was. And I found out that he had been in this orphanage and that they were about to move him from a baby home into another place. And we were drawn to him. Eventually, it became clear that we were to adopt him, but we didn't have the money. But what we did have, because we had a large social media network, was a lot of people who came forward to support us. I had spent several years watching adoptive families spend their last dime, mortgage their home to adopt kids, never having money when the kids would come back, struggling. And we were struggling at this time too, but we felt like, you know, we were really called to adopt him. And our attitudes actually were, you know what? It's hard. It's really tough for us right now because, you know, business is really slow. But our attitude is like, if he could end up dying, you know, without a family. Our worst situation here in America with him is still better than what his future would be without us extending ourselves, going into uncomfortable places. So our friends donated money. Eventually we were able to get there, even though we were like borderline, almost poverty level at that point. So we went over to Ukraine. We ended up adopting him, and the judge at the place said, congratulations. And they said to me, you know, we're really glad that you came when you came, because we were about to transfer him to an orphanage it was an internat, like almost like a mental hospital, and it had people that were like adults in it, all different ages, where children as young as him have died within 6 months of being transferred there. And it was at that point when we just sort of really realized that, you know what, we did the right thing, because we didn't know what would happen with him. So we were excited and we brought him home, but it was a somber moment. This is Alec. Back to my presentation here. Hold on. That's Alec. And so we came home. And when we came home, actually, things got a little bit worse. We were really struggling financially to the point where our house is about to be foreclosed. Our kids qualified for Medicaid. And it got to the point where we're supplementing our diets with food that had been, you know, expired food that was turned away from food pantries. And it was during this time that I simultaneously became an expert on nutrition, because I was researching nutrition for, you know, children with immune issues. I was, you know, researching nutrition for children that may have been in compromised positions and had, you know, bad gut. You know, like three of my kids in Africa had different parasites and all this stuff. I was researching all of this. And so I just happened one day, I was devastated, crying, because financially it was just, the pressure was so tough. And I call it my dumpster days, because I literally felt like I was glued to the bottom of a dumpster and I couldn't get out. And there I was, like, eating expired food, giving my kids leftover expired birthday cake for breakfast when I knew everything about glutathione, alpha-lactobumin, what pre and probiotics my kids needed, but I couldn't afford it. And then, so one day I was just sobbing, and then it just happened that somebody introduced me to Isogenics. And then I decided that I would borrow money and take a leap of faith to go all in with Isogenics. And so I did that. And that was when a light bulb went off where I just said, oh my goodness, I needed to pay this back. All of my friends have been struggling for years. The kids don't have good nutrition. The parents get so stressed out that they gain weight and they need better nutrition. And we need more finances. We all need post-adoption support. So basically, that was my why, and that was the context of how I came into Isogenics. So there I was, building a team. And my advice to you guys, because from there, the team just took off. Because again, like I told you, the engine between all of this, we were really, really strong in the sense because I cast this vision. I shared my why, which was to create healthy and prosperous forever families. I created a group that I called Adoptogenics. This list right here, these questions are actually questions that are in the 90-day game plan, or action plan, on isogenicsbusiness.com. And these are the questions that you can ask yourselves regarding your why. But I'm going to tell you how this worked for me. I didn't really look at it until after the fact, but how it applied. When you're asking yourself, or when you're asking other people, why do you want to live a healthier life? It's easy to say, well, I want to lose weight so I can look good. Yeah, but you need to dig deeper, and you need to dig deeper into yourself, and you need to dig deeper into other people. So for example, I wanted a healthier life so I could have more energy for my kids. But why? Why did I want more energy from my kids? Because I wanted to, at the end of the day, I wanted to see Alec and Matea and my kids grow up to have healthy lives, and for me to be there for them, especially since they had seen their parents die or didn't have parents around. So there was a deeper reason than let me be healthy so I'm there for my kids. So you have to dig deep. I say ask each question 4 times, like go deep, get into the layers. When you're writing, for example, when you're learning how to write, they have you do that. They have you get more specific. Why do you want to share ISO with others? And many people will say, well, I want to help others to get healthy. I mean, that's the easiest thing. Shoot for more specificity for yourself and for others. Have conversations, say, okay, I understand that, but what does that look like to you? What does that mean to you? For me, why do you want to share Isogenics with others? I wanted people in my network, because I had a specific network, I knew what it was like to feel that pain. I wanted to get cash into their pocketbooks, into their homes, so they could be full-time forever families. I speak that out a lot too, full-time forever families, because these children needed to bond with their parents. So it was not just like, well, I want to help people. It's deeper than that. And sometimes we say these little brief, superficial answers because we don't want to dig deep, because it gets emotional. What drives you the most? What drives your actions now? Again, go deep with these questions. For me, at first, it was, let's just pay the bills, and then my really close friend, Carolyn Tweetmeyer, she was one of the first people to join me in Isogenics, 15 kids. So gave birth to 7 and had 8, and adopted 8 of them. Severe special needs, couple with Down syndrome, some, autism, one with full out stage 4 AIDS that she gave her own blood to help. I think not everybody's muted. And then I wanted her, she had a dream to get her family to Guatemala to start an orphanage. Now
Deanna, baby, I'm going to just hit you all again, so then unmute yourself.
Oh, I'm not unmuted?
You are good. You're good. I'm going to just hit you all for whoever's not, so that it'll mute you, so then unmute.
Oh, you want me to unmute my, okay. Okay, so what drove me was that I had a girlfriend, Carolyn Tweetmeyer, who had 15 kids with severe special needs. And she also she's a missionary, and she wanted her family to get to Guatemala and live there to help others. Now, Guatemala was close to my heart because the first child that we adopted was from Guatemala. So what was driving me in creating full-time forever families, healthy and prosperous forever families, and I would share this. So I had my own personal why, but we kind of had a team why. So each person had their own why, but we had a team why. So I wanted to get her to Guatemala. How will you connect with your why? Now that's a really great question. It's really reminding yourself what you're doing, and you'll connect with it more if you make a decision to get deeper and, wake up in the morning. And when you're up in the morning, remind yourself, have some time for affirmation, for prayers, for writing things out. Take that time. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't spent enough of that. I've spent the last probably 3 or 4 months closing in, insulating, cocooning myself and my team for more focus. And it can look like from the outside that we're being, exclusive, or maybe I'm backing off or whatever, but I'm not doing that at all. I'm going deeper. And so sometimes you have to do that. You have to recognize your own traits and what you're doing, but getting into your why. I mean, you don't want to turn off that central nervous system. You don't want to turn off that engine. You don't want to be unfueled. You have to fuel yourself. The why is what's going to fuel everything, when you're connecting with people, when you're sharing on social media. So how can you help your team members connect with their why? Definitely have conversations with people, and don't just assume because you have a strong why and your team may have a strong why that should be theirs. And also, by the way, I know that I have a very kind of dramatic story and background, but don't be ashamed of saying, I want to pay my mortgage. Because you'll get deeper into that. Why do you want to pay your mortgage? Because you probably want more freedom in your life. Everything that can sound superficial isn't as superficial as it sounds, if that makes sense. In other words, when you dig deeper and go into 4 different layers and keep asking, you're gonna uncover something that's pretty amazing with people. So don't shy off to the fact, well, I just want to earn more vacation money. You want more vacation money because you want more quality time with your family, and that's something that's really deep and important. So I talked about a team why. I talked about my personal why. And this is our corporate why. And this was so huge for me. I believe, and again, it's not something that we talk a lot about, or I've never heard it really discussed at a corporate event, but I believe that if you're going to align yourself with a company, that your why better line up with the corporate why. That you cannot, it would be really hard if there isn't some congruency with what your belief system is and what the corporation's belief system is and the product line is. So, to impact world health and free people from physical and financial pain, and in the process, create the largest health and wellness company in the world. This meant, for my team and for me, everything. We had spent, this gets really emotional for me. We had spent so many years not making a penny, believing that we could eliminate the orphan crisis of 163 million orphan children. When I started adopting in 2005 with my baby, Matea, there were 143 million orphans. And sometimes that means double. Sometimes, it's a combination of foster kids, some that have been abandoned, but children that don't have families, vulnerable people. Why are they often orphaned? Because of the health crisis globally. People are dying because of water being disgusting. People are dying because of different diseases that could be taken care of with better nutrition. People are malnourished. People are starving. This vision statement for my team was so in line that that's why people would say you have a big why, even though I'm like, what's a why? So if you really hone in and work on your reasoning, you're going to see great momentum. I want to tell one other story because this is really important to me. It's about quiet desperation. Alec was with me for about a year, and he started to speak English a little bit better. Now, first, prior to that, when we met him at the orphanage, he was in an orphanage with 300 kids. He was in a little wing that had about 15 or 20 kids, and all under the age of 5. He was the oldest. And it was very sterile. Like, it was like a hospital wing. And they wouldn't really let him go out and even interact with, like, he would have to interact with other kids that had certain health conditions, but he couldn't interact with the other ones because honestly, they were kind of ignorant in what they knew about HIV. They thought that it was, I don't know what their thing was, but so he had never seen, this was a remote orphanage. It was an orphanage where hardly anybody had ever come to adopt. And the minute that we walked through the door, he came to us and embraced us. And at 5 years old, they asked him, do you want to go with them? He knew that he didn't belong there. And he said, yeah, I want to go with them. Imagine you're leaving the place that you've known all your life and you're going to have a family. He had hardly ever seen families be adopted, children in that particular wing be adopted. So anyhow, fast forward, like a year or so after that, I'm home with him. I'm driving in my car. He's speaking better English. And he's this boy. He's not overly emotional. He's just funny. He's just a sweet kid. And all of a sudden I hear in the back of the car, he says, Mommy. I said, well, what, Alec? He goes, why did it take so long? And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, Mommy, he says, I was in that orphanage he called it Grupa. I was in Grupa for a really long time and nobody came. Why did it take so long? And it was just like, whew, like at that moment, I was like, it's innate for every human being to know that they don't belong in a place of darkness. They don't belong alone. They don't belong in a place with no future. They don't belong in a place where they might be sent off to more darkness. And it is in that context that I reach out to people. And it is that context that I believe why a lot of my team members are doing well is that they have reached out to children in need for, their entire, for several years. And I was in quiet desperation. I was struggling so hard financially, just to make ends meet. And it was so difficult. And, I know a lot of you guys out there, you have your own reasons. I mean, I can look even at our panel, I know that Rachel, had her time where she was just like, what am I going to do? I'm in debt. Things are really hard, and you internalize it. You don't really express it. There are people every day dressed up beautifully. I was dressed up during this quiet desperation time and yet not even knowing if I could eat, but too afraid to ask people for money because it was embarrassing to me. So there are people that need Isagenix. There are people out there. And so we need to share this to remember that opening our mouths is like opening a door of light to people. It really is. It's an opportunity to change their lives for the better. We're really unlocking the door. And, it's in that context that I just really want all of you guys to keep that in mind, to really dig deep into your why. So anyhow, last week, this is something that I almost forgot. I spoke about the corporate why, but we have corporate values. And this really makes me really proud, and I'm sure it makes a lot of you guys proud too. If you go into at corporate headquarters, you're going to see all of our values up there. Freedom, integrity, contribution, gratitude. We're goal-driven, purpose-driven. They're looking for transformation, leadership development, fun, family. This was so huge for me, health and innovation. This contribution piece, I'm sure that all of you have seen that Isagenix has given generously, to the people in Houston. And I was just watching what was going on. I'm so proud to be a part of a cause-driven, purpose-driven company. And this is part of our corporate why as well. So for those of you who are like, but I don't really know what my why is, remember what the corporate why is first and go from there and see, well, why does this impact me? Out of all of these points, what impacts you? What makes you go, wow, that's really cool. You know, what do you respond to? When Kathy Coover gets on stage and talks about family, for me, I'm like, this is amazing. Like, she prioritizes family. There are humble people that get to train on stage. I mean, I'm proud of that. So, you know, keep all of this in mind. And then last week I said something. I was talking about the why should make you cry, try, and fly. And I'm going to put up a slide and explain that to you a little bit. Your why should be so inspiring that it makes you cry. Your why should be so motivating that it makes you try harder to reach new levels. Your why should be so powerful that it makes you fly faster and higher than you ever could imagine. And, you know, I just say this because it's just a way to kind of remember. Try. I know my friend Patty Cepeda doesn't like when we say the word try, but what it means in this context is that we really are going to take action to reach higher levels, not for ourselves, you know, for others, but also to make our lives better, but to first lead with the heart, right? And when I say it should make you cry, you should be able to get to the heart of who you are and what your true why is, so that you're not just being surface. What I was saying before, go 4 levels deep. If you have to go 5 levels deep, you know, work on this, make this a job for you, like really work on it. And then it should be so powerful, because once you get it, and you're going to tweak it and it's going to change, you know, your why is going to change, but it should be so powerful that that engine and that central nervous system is working so strongly that everything else you do, whether you're connecting with people, whether you're doing social media, it's this undercurrent in everything that you do. And so it's not something that's obvious, like we don't always express it, but we need to know what it is ourselves. And I will probably guarantee that a lot of you don't know what it is right now, but you will. And so your why is the central nervous system of your business. We're going to have some assignments here, but that's pretty much my presentation, because I know that we wanted to keep it, you know, not too long. And I just really want to encourage all of you guys really to take this seriously. You know, it's the reason why it's first in a lot of the trainings is because it's really that energy that's going to move you. I see Janice. Hi, Janice. So we have some assignments for you, but I don't know if we want to are we taking questions or anything? No questions. Okay. So our assignments are, we want you to read GoPro by Eric Worre. And then this should be fun. I want you to go through those questions and really work on your why. Like, come up with, you know, with what it is. And if you get stuck, go through those 5 questions. And also share it with your upline and share it with 10 other people, you know, either in your team or, you know, just call your friends and say, look, you know I've talked to you about this system. I know I've talked to you about these shakes, but I'm sorry. Please, I apologize, because I really haven't been honest with you. I haven't really been telling you why I'm doing this. And I love you, and I really want to share it with you. So that's what I would do. And it's going to be a good week. I think it's going to be excellent, and you're going to really, you're going to learn a lot about yourself and a lot about what moves and motivates your team. And this is going to prepare you as leaders to be able to pull this out of other people in your team as well.
Deanna, you're amazing. You're absolutely amazing. And I can't wait to see these lives, you guys. Rachel's done a great job, and she's got the homework thread up already. When you've done your live, or if you're about to go live, I mean, comment in there. Let us know so we can watch it. We can, you know, lift it up. We want to bring you as much awareness as we can, because that's so true to your heart, but we also really want to support you. And the one thing, I mean, of the gazillion takeaways I have from you tonight, Deanna, one of the things that was so amazing is when she's just talking about, don't compare your why to somebody else's. It doesn't matter. It's yours. And whatever is fueling you and whatever you do, why you do, that is up to you. And so don't think, oh, mine's not as good as Deanna's, or Renee had this, or Rach had that, or Erin has this. It's yours. And there's zero judgment. You just have to know to your core all of those layers past that superficial one, what's driving you. And so I would love to wrap up. We want to bring out Aaron. We are all just in love with his energy and enthusiasm, and he's bringing the fun factors. You got to wrap this up for us.
Of course. And, you know, Deanna, I mean, I've heard your story many times, and, you know, what you just shared with us has not only lit a fire but an inferno inside of my heart, because honestly, like Jim and Kathy and John Anderson, they didn't start this company because they wanted to make money. They didn't start this company because they knew how to do it. They started this company because they had no other choice. See, they were called to do something, and it was huge. It was beyond what they could understand. And when they got started, they chose to make the field the reason why. And what that means is that each and every one of us have a reason for living. We have a purpose in life. And see, we can look about our products, and we can look about our money, and we can think about, you know, all the excitement and the culture that we have. But the bigger picture here is what the world is suffering. And what I mean by the world is the whole entire earth. And so we are representing something so special. And many of us may not even know what that is yet. And so let us start with what's important to you right now. Let us start with the people that are impacted by the choice that you made to decide to do this, and whatever this is, whether it be become healthier so you can be a better version of you, contributor and be a contributor to others' lives and help them to be hopeful, right? Or just really help them to ignite something because you found what it is that ignites you. And you know, what excites me the most about this whole thing is that we've all been called to this 12-week movement. Right? These next 90 days, we don't know what it's going to end up looking like, but we know why we came here tonight. We came here tonight to really drive that purpose home and try to bring some clarity to our lives, and to go to bed tonight thinking about what it is that drives us, what it is that really makes us who we are each and every day. And as we wake up, I know tonight, you know, as we wake up in the morning, I'm thinking about my child's first day of school at 3rd grade. And I'm thinking about his little brother looking at him as being a younger brother looking up to his mentor. And I look at the children in the world today, and I look at all the families struggling in Houston right now. And they didn't know what was coming. They knew there was a hurricane coming, but they had no idea the impact it was going to have in so many people's lives. And see, that's what we've been called to do, everyone. And I ask that, you know, you just take tonight's call. And as I'm standing here with goosebumps and just thinking about the information that was shared, you know, by Deanna and her movement of creating forever families. I mean, just to understand the concept of what that statement means is huge. And so I just can't thank you all enough for choosing to be here tonight to really get that message. And I know many of you may just not be able to sleep tonight. I know I'm not able to sleep tonight, but I want you to be just so impactful. And that's the word that I want to use tonight, impactful on your purpose and your intentions tomorrow morning. And when you wake up, you know, have a different light, knowing that you may be just the light that someone needs. And it may be only the size of a pinhole at the end of a tunnel for someone, but that's what it means to them. It means that it's possible, that there's something at the end of this tunnel. And I know life has got much more meaning than just waking up every morning, working for a 9 to 5 of something that I don't even like, but I have to do it right now and it pays the bills. But there's got to be something more than this. And so let's be that light. Let's be that purpose. Let's be that intent for others to believe what's possible. And I absolutely love this. And let's rock and roll. Let's kick this thing in the gear and let's rock and roll, y'all. Let's make it happen, y'all.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you guys, we're in gallery view. Everybody say bye. We love you. Erin, you're the best. You're the best. Deanna, thanks for making us cry. Erin, thanks for making us feel high. We'll see you guys in a week.
We love you.
Y'all have a beautiful night, okay?
God bless you guys. Be great.
All right, everybody. Great call. Thanks.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. See you later.
Thank you. It was wonderful as usual.
Thank you.